All right, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. So as we can see, there is a pretty strong sell-off in the pre-market. This is pretty much exactly what we talked about yesterday with the speech going on at 9 p.m. You can't really trust any of that price action from yesterday. We really wanted to see a micro pullback. You wanted to see that value sitting basically inside of the pre-market value, which is that's exactly what it did. You had a very strong micro pullback. It did start getting a little bit trendy. You tried to push out a value, but then you had a strong sell-off into the afternoon, which then led it to be basically right in the middle of that overnight. So pretty much going into the speech, you were basically a 50-50. We would have preferred it to go down because there are magnets to the downside with that untested lower tail, the single prints, the afternoon break, the value retrace, etc. So we would have preferred it to go down, which thankfully that is what it's doing. So it is coming down here, and look at where it is. It is damn near on that single print zone pretty much perfectly. So we have our single prints going down to about 500, and then you have the retrace going down to 74, which was the trade plan level. And then you have lower support on that lower tail, if you want to retest that P-shaped lower tail, around 400 to 87. So right now we have a lowercase b, which is basically pushing into the single prints from, what day was that? Tuesday. And funny enough, I think I'm going to leave these levels pretty much the same, because that is still the best level, that 82 level. Let's lower the targets a little bit. So we'll say 603 for that retrace. And then 36. And I think I'm going to leave the lower levels the same. So key level today is still that 82 level, same as yesterday. Okay, quickly looking at NASDAQ here. Do we need to lower those targets? Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and lower the targets a little bit on the upside because we are down so much. So we'll look for the retrace targets. And then to the downside, I believe we're still okay. 590, that is where the single prints are. And then 421 is the full retrace. That is perfectly fine. The same thing on NASDAQ here. You do have that lowercase b. So it is bearish, but it's not like massively bearish where it's just trending completely downward. A lot of buy pressure on the open here. If it can't stay above the value high of Tuesday, it's just going to keep coming back down. Just keep an eye on oil. We are trading massively up on oil. And this goes back to what we were talking about with not being able to trust any of that buy pressure because oil was not responding to the downside. But now we are seeing the response on oil to the upside. Trading much higher on oil, 112. So unless oil comes down pretty aggressively here, I would not be overly bullish. Another correlation that has been very strong recently is the dollar. Yesterday, it was even stronger than oil. And the dollar is also going up. So both of these, oil and the dollar going up, are bearish for these charts here, ES and NASDAQ. And you can notice where a lot of this action is occurring on ES and NASDAQ. We talked about this in my recap videos with that support and resistance demand all the way back in August to like November. But yeah, this chart going straight up and this chart going straight up, very bearish for equities here. I think you're getting a little bit of like an overnight fade where they're trying to go against that overnight here. They're trying to buy it up. But it's very hard to trust unless we see a strong sell-off in oil here. I think you'd want to see oil at least back below like 108 for this buy pressure to be sustained. And by the way, guys, tomorrow is a holiday, so today is technically the Friday, basically. Today is the end of the week. The futures market will be open a little bit tomorrow, but it is technically a trading holiday. So the volume will be very low. Same thing I said yesterday goes for today. If you are pushing aggressively to the upside, if there is not a strong sell-off in oil to go with that push, I would not trust it. The oil market is still bearish for equities. Obviously, the oil market is very bullish, inverse correlation, bearish for equities. Good morning, Music, Tachi, Brian, AT, Igor, Trades, Asparagus, Jose. Good morning, Nike. Good morning, Brent, eBay. Bartuzzi, Mick, Stewart, Peter, Chuck, Creso, Ram, Luis, Stronger, Power. Good morning, Ryder, Larry, Adam, Angelo. Chebby, Roman. Good morning, Flory, Greg, Ordinary, Ollie, Leo, Ronaldo. Good morning, Mauser. Appreciate you guys being here. So long story short, if you guys did not watch the speech, it was actually very short. It was much shorter than I thought it was going to be. He was basically just going over what has happened already and the plans for the next couple of weeks. So he basically said that there is no peace at the moment. They will continue to strike Iran for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And if there is not major peace or a ceasefire happening, they will begin targeting their energy plants as he talked about a week or two ago. So the new timeline is 2 to 3 weeks from now. Essentially the rest of April. Which is unfortunate because historically, April is one of the most bullish months of the year. Historically, April and November, December are the best times to be a buyer. Now, obviously, that doesn't take into account random wars that are going on. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Julio, Marcus, Anthony. Good morning, John, Trevor, PG. Good morning, Kara. Yeah, April is usually very bullish, probably tying into like the start of the second quarter. First quarter is usually a lot of selling from the prior year, rebalancing, etc., etc. Historically, it's very good. Right now, we'll see. Hey, Brian, no worries, man. Good morning, Rue. Well, obviously, the gas companies, the energy companies typically follow oil, so the strait being closed is pushing those companies higher. So you would just flip that on its head if the strait is reopened. I mean, if you look at the stock heat map, it's pretty obvious what's going on here. Yeah, today is very obvious. Red, 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 a little bit of green. And where is it green? Energy. Exxon, Chevron. I'm not sure what the names of these companies are. I think that's like Marathon. Yeah, Marathon. But yeah, sea of red and an island of green. Okay, in true lowercase b fashion on the volume profile, we tried to push up. We got towards that value high. That's the maximum potential for sellers, and they pushed it right back down. We are still trying to fill in those single prints from Tuesday. They go back down to about 500. We have filled in the upper half. NASDAQ, they go down to about 600. It sounds like you got an extra good night's sleep. I actually slept pretty shitty last night, to be honest. Oh, my taxes have been done. My taxes are due early. It actually was not bad at all this year. The tax changes definitely helped me a lot more than I thought they were going to. Good morning, Spence. Very simple today, guys. If oil continues to look like this, it is very hard to be a buyer. I'd be focusing mostly on the sell side. If you're taking buys, well, honestly, if you're taking any trades, I wouldn't try to stay in them for too long because any headline can break your trade. Iran saying they're going to expand their targets to American steel industries in Abu Dhabi, the Al Hidd industrial city in Bahrain, aluminum facility in Bahrain, and I believe that's it. That speech was a great example of what I've been talking about ignoring all these bullshit headlines. There were so many headlines coming out before the speech from reputable sources too, like decent sources, Axios, Wall Street Journal, Reuters, like big names, right? And the headlines were saying like, oh, Trump's going to talk about a peace agreement in this speech. He didn't do that. Trump's going to talk about a land invasion in the speech. He didn't do that. They were basically rumors on like what he was going to talk about in his speech, and basically not a single one of them were right. And you can see the market partially fell for it as well with how bullish it was going into that speech. It's like taking bets into the FOMC, right? You're basically just flipping a coin. Good morning, Ryan. I have a news feed on Twitter. If you follow my Twitter, if you go to my list under my account, there's one called News, and you can follow that one. If you do not have access to their Twitter Pro, which is now it's actually not Twitter Pro anymore. It's Twitter Premium or whatever it's called. It's their $40 a month one. They just changed it like last week. Or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. So you have to have the $40 a month that comes with like Super Grok and X Pro, I think it's called. And then you can have a live feed for that news list. If you don't pay the $40 a month, you can still have the news list, but you have to like manually refresh it. It used to be $8 a month, but they made you get their premium package now. Which honestly I was pretty upset about in the beginning, but then I started using Super Grok because it forced me to use it basically. And it's actually helped me quite a bit. I think their Super Grok is a lot better than OpenAI's chat so far. I'm in the process of trying to port over my Athena LLM model onto Super Grok. What if Raj? Yeah, nothing on the calendar today really matters. Today is an oil day. Yeah, basically everything has become a subscription for sure. Yeah, that's what I use for news. There's a bunch of, when you look at that news feed, you'll see a bunch of different news wire accounts, like accounts that post all these headlines. And if you want just an individual news feed, there's a lot of them in that timeline. There's like Financial Juice, Live Squawk, all that stuff. But what I do is I follow all of them so I can get little pieces from all of them. Yeah, that's the problem, Chris, is like you never know, like, are they leaks? Are they journalists just making shit up? It's someone who heard something from somebody else. It's all hearsay bullshit. And the market runs on hearsay to an extent, right? Like what we saw yesterday. They run on rumors, they run on hearsay. But then when the true event happens or whatever the rumors were about, that's what truly moves the market as we saw today. Or technically yesterday, I guess. Good morning, Scooby. Well, exactly. You guys are starting to see my point. That is quite literally my point. Is whether Trump is telling the truth or lying, or these headlines are telling the truth or lying, none of that shit matters until we actually see these events unfold. I don't care how many peace headlines there are. Is there actual peace? How many ships are going through the strait? That's information you can track, right? Logical. It's not hearsay. It's not a rumor. Sort of a paradigm shift on buy the rumor, sell the news. Yeah, it's always been about the same. And then that's that motto is basically my point summed up. Except for it's not buy the rumor, it's just like kind of wait and see, right? But my point is the market can very easily shift when these events actually happen compared to what people were trading when they were trading the rumor or trading the hearsay, whatever. Once you guys have been in the market for a few years and you've seen stuff like this unfold, you'll start to understand what I'm talking about. It'll save you guys a lot of money in the long run. The only exception to what I'm talking about is people who like their entire strategy is trading news, which obviously I do not trade news. So I'm teaching you guys, I'm talking about what I do as a trader. So I'm not a news trader. I don't take trades because of a headline said something. So obviously there's an exception if your whole strategy is designed off trading that momentum spike from the news events. Keep an eye on this rotation, by the way, rotating back up to the value high, 873 on NASDAQ. That same level on ES is 48, coming up very quickly here. I couldn't tell you what TradingView CVD is doing. I don't look at those levels. TradingView does not have good delta. The rumor mill leading up to the news certainly does bring liquidity. Yeah, for sure, yeah. Keep an eye on VWAP, by the way. VWAP at 44 and VWAP at 855. Yeah, it definitely provides volatility. It provides momentum. It provides some liquidity, right? It's not providing lasting liquidity, but it provides some liquidity during that move. Bull div on NASDAQ? Yeah, there was. Right now, we're just in rotations. Very common lowercase b. They tried to get to the value high. They sold, back to the value low, bounced off the value low. Now we're back to the value high. Now, notice one thing here. Oil is coming down. So this buy pressure is actually true buy pressure. It's being correlated. The Greenland invasion is back in the news. I didn't see that. Who's posting about that now? The Greenland invasion, I went on this rant yesterday. So I'm not going to go on the rant again, but keep an eye on VWAP here. The rant is basically the Greenland invasion is my exact argument about perma bears. They're like calling fire, 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 fire. Nothing happens. They disappear. They'll never say they were wrong. They wait 10 years, whatever, however long it takes for them to be right. And then it happens, and they say, I told you so. It's all right. You got me. I remember when I first started trading futures, like way back in the day, there was this one guy on Twitter who was like a well-known analyst at the time. His name was like Sven or something. I forget what it was. But he was one of those guys that was like a perma bear, and he would draw trend lines all the time on equities. And the second they would start breaking the trend line, he'd be like, "Oh, this is the one, guys. Recession coming, big bearish move coming." And then it wouldn't happen, right? And then you'd finally get a drop because of like some global event, and you'd be like, "Oh, I told you guys. Told you so. I was wrong 97 times, but I told you so." Okay, here's that value high rotation. Value high rotation is complete. Are they going to stay outside of this value high? The level to watch is 50, and the level to watch on NASDAQ is 873. Now, was this just a rotation? Or is this actually a trend forming here? Yeah, Skinny, funny enough, I get that a lot on my stream. That people are like, how did you put the volume profile so close to the TPO? I don't know, to be honest. I genuinely don't know. I can show you my settings, and people have matched my settings. I don't know how it's different from yours. It might have to do with like how many letters I have. But I'm genuinely not sure. It also might be a Zoom thing. I don't know. Sven, I remember him. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. You're going to get used to it in trading. You just got to ignore them. It's not just on the downside either. It's just people that are constantly wrong and they're right one time. It's like that saying about a broken clock, right? They're gonna be right eventually, and then they say like, "Oh, I told you so. I was right the entire time." Yeah, you might have lost 80% of your portfolio on the way up, but yeah, you're right. Okay, oil is still coming down here. Let's keep an eye on that. As long as oil keeps coming down, this correlation is pushing us higher. We're trying to see, is this just a rotation or is it a trend? The rotation is already failing, not able to stay below 50. That was the value high level that we just talked about. It's 884 on NASDAQ. If it does continue here, you're still not out of the value of Tuesday until you hold above 82. So there's still a decent amount of sell opportunity around that value high. We'll see if it happens. You would need some help from oil there. Right now, we're kind of seeing a bit of an overnight fade. Very common, or sorry, very similar to a T-shaped failure, but obviously flip it upside down. Very trendy here, developing a second node at 58. Yeah, pretty much. You would like to see the buyers basically fall away, where they're just not buying anymore. Or if they are buying, they're getting absorbed completely. And then you start seeing it flip into sell pressure. We're obviously not seeing that. Buyers are very strong here. Building another very strong node here at 60. It is being held bearishly for now. Yeah, this is a 15-minute chart, so it's pretty slow. I don't really care about the candle, like the candle by candle action. It's more about the overall push. 15 minutes is what we used to trade on oil, if you guys remember back in the day. A lot of 15-minute sweeps. It's actually what my original sweep video was made on. Yeah, it's one of the things I was saying on the way down is we never really had those big red days. Like these days are 1.7, 1.7, 1.5, 1.5, 1.4. Like we're not seeing those 3, 4, 5% days. The sell-off has been very sustained. It's very I want to say slow, but it's still kind of volatile. But it's not like a rapid panic sell. They're allowing the buyers to have their days. To threaten this local downtrend here, I think you would need to hold a couple days above like 700. 650, 700, somewhere around there. And we're just not doing it. It's all short-term buy pressure that you could attribute to the headlines or profit taking. It's not actual buy pressure coming from oil coming down or coming from the dollar coming down. It's not a macro move. I think what a lot of people are going to figure out in this market, if they haven't figured it out already, is that they trade too emotionally. Like if you're really struggling in this market, you're probably trading too emotionally based on these headlines or based on these violent moves. During times like this, you just especially have to go back into the basics, right? Fall back to your cornerstone stuff like volume profile, VWAPs, whatever. People get worked up, they get emotional, they make bad trades. This was more of an overnight trade, but if you guys were trading the pre-market, there was a beautiful example of a bull div with a pivot. And this is a great example of what I talk about with the bull divs with the shading. So you had a bottom shading, a potential bottom on this low here. If you have a bull div, you are basically never going to have a shading here because the momentum is already pushing up. So when you see that, when you have a shading here but no shading here, it's just kind of confirming there is a bull div there. And then to confirm the bull div even further, you had a pivot right there as well. Another signal that you had here that we really like to look for is there's a trap right here. Notice the momentum pushes up, but then it quickly has that cupping pattern back down. And you stayed below the trail. So the trail confirmed there was a trap there. We're still in that potential bounce area on the weekly where we just flipped the trail. So when you just flip the trail, kind of where your price flipped it, so like down here, and where it is, this is like a potential bounce where like you can have kind of like a dead cat almost, where it bounces up, but you still keep that new downtrend. And then you come back down. So it's a pretty big area. Obviously, we're on a weekly chart. Yeah, potential bounce zone here where it's going to get rejected. Bit of a bear div forming on the momentum on the 5-minute. Speaking of traps, you just had a little trap there on the 1-minute, but it's quickly already over. It gave you your new high. Good morning, Joan. Spence, basically you're just an oil trader right now. You're just looking at ES and NASDAQ on the bigger picture, like where you are in the profile, value high, value low, tails, whatever. But to determine your direction, you're mostly just trading oil. As oil continues to come down here, you're still pushing higher on value. If oil goes back up, you're probably going to push down on value. Yeah, Skinny, I'm a couple versions behind, so if you're on like the newest version, it might look different than mine. You're coming up on that point of origin VWAP on oil where that that speech started. It's around that 108.45. So like I said, staying below 108 is pretty bearish on oil. That's what you see every day, AT. I'm on the desktop version. This is the desktop version. I've been using it for basically since they announced it years ago. I haven't gone back to their web version in years, so I couldn't really compare them, but when I first shifted over, it was pretty obvious that it ran a lot better. The desktop runs better. Okay, so like we said earlier, we asked ourselves, is this just a rotation or is it trending? Because you bounced off the value low, you finished that lower rotation. So the obvious move was going back to 50 to finish the upper rotation, right? But then when you get to 50, you don't know, is it just going to go right back down or are we trending? So then they started building a massive node at 50, built a node above 50, and then so on and so forth. They keep building nodes above 50, so obviously they're not balancing anymore. It would have to trade back into value, which is probably higher now. It's probably, yeah, it's 58 now. That's why volume profile is such a good thing to fall back on during times like this, is it helps you be patient, keep an eye on these major levels, wait for it to get to your extremes, your value high, your value low, your high day, lower day, whatever. Morning, Lumir. By the way, if you guys sent me your raffle tickets over the last couple of days, be on the lookout for your email. I will be pulling those winners most likely tomorrow. But we'll email you guys tomorrow with that. If you buy any new accounts right now, do not send those. Hold on to those until the end of the month. If you're buying any accounts with a 90% off right now, just hold on to them. Put them in a folder or something. The receipts, I mean. Just hold on to the receipts. I will get those from you on the last week. If you do need access to the indicators, you can go ahead and send me one of them. Just send me one of your recent receipts. Whatever you use code BREW for, if you need access to these indicators here. And the bots as well. Just send me the most recent receipt using code BREW and let me know what your TradingView name is. Oh, by the way, here's my email if you need it. If you guys didn't see it, I put out an announcement in Discord yesterday, basically talking about what we talked about yesterday on stream with the scamming stuff. Somebody's trying to impersonate me, multiple people trying to impersonate me and scam you guys on Discord, Twitter, Substack, all the bullshit. So I put out an announcement. I put it basically everywhere in Discord. So be sure to check that out. Basically, long story short, just be mindful of who's messaging you. I'm never going to ask you guys for personal information or money or crypto or any of that bullshit. A good way to figure out if it's me messaging you is just go to my exact Discord, like the Oasis Trading Group, click on my name in there, and then it will say like message me, and you can message me directly from there. And it should pull up our messages if we have any prior to that. And if you're really worried about it, you can ask me on the live stream. That's a good way to find me. Keep an eye on that key level coming up at 82. That is the value high of Tuesday. We are technically an inside day until we break back above 82. But yeah, there is a setting in Discord. If you go to your, what is it called? Content and social, it's called in Discord. You can make it so people cannot message you unless they're on your friends list. Or if you have like similar servers. John, you can find my list on Twitter. If you go to my Twitter, go to my list section. There is a news list that has like 20 to 25 accounts that I follow, and those are all pretty reputable. Trend is still very stable here, staying above the ADMA damn near the entire time. Keep an eye on oil. As long as it continues downward, you do have buy pressure on equities. We'll see how this candle closes because it looks like a micro pullback for now, but you could break that high here. The key point for this trend was that VWAP test because it was also right around the value high. So seeing basically no sell pressure here was pretty bad for the sellers. They didn't sell VWAP, they didn't sell the value high. He even had a clean VWAP flip on NASDAQ. He didn't quite get it on ES. You came back down and tapped VWAP pretty much perfectly. Yeah, you didn't have a clear VWAP test on ES. You did have one on NASDAQ. So it depends on what you're trading. I would not be convinced on this oil sell-off until we start pushing below 108. You could find a lot of buyers around 108. It would be completely unnecessary for me to watch USO because I'm watching oil, which is basically what USO is derived from. VIX, no, I don't watch VIX, but once again, I don't need to watch VIX if I'm watching oil and or the dollar because they are showing me why we are getting volatility in the first place. Yeah, they could be, Carini. They could be. Because you could look at it as like a CPI type of thing. You don't really have to worry about the single print as much because it already lines up with the trade plan anyway. Like the trade plan is already a value retrace of that entire day, which wipes out that candle anyway. No, you don't have to trade them both. You can just figure out which one fits your trading more and trade that one. I just analyze both because I know a lot of people in here trade NASDAQ. It is extremely hard to trust this buy pressure. Not so much in a short term sense, but just in a grand scheme of things here. When you have a candle on oil that looks like that. So very hard to trust any buy pressure on the daily that is trying to push us out of this trend when the entire reason that we are trending down is still very obviously trending up. I'd say for ES to be like back above this trend, holding above 67, trading back up here, you need oil to be completely losing this range. So back down around like at least 90, potentially 80. But obviously, don't conflict your short term with the long term, right? Short term, oil's still coming down. Buyers are still pushing up. Heading into a holiday and a long weekend where there could be some increased military action. Another reason to be a little bit mindful of the buy pressure here. I'll probably post another update video today. Possibly today or tomorrow. I might wait till Sunday. We'll see. We'll see. But I will definitely be putting out an update this weekend, I guess I would say. Just continuing our string of updates on what's going on in the oil market that's causing this macro move on the markets. And I know I've been talking about the shorts for a couple months now. But my buddy who does the shorts, my friend who does the editing, he's been on like a massive overtime grind. He's been working like damn near every single day. And he's been planning on moving out recently, so he's been real busy. But I talked to him yesterday, and I told him I'm just going to send him basically all of my short stuff tomorrow, and he can just work through it whenever he wants, whenever he has free time. So we'll start having those come out probably in the next week or two, depending on his schedule. But I'm going to send him like upwards of like 20 shorts starting tomorrow. So I'd like to have them coming out like one or two a week for the foreseeable future. Oh yeah, I appreciate it, Louise. So I'm not looking for outside work. I get flooded with emails with people trying to offer me outside work, but I like having my friend do it. He's been wanting the experience. He wants to get into like editing and video editing and stuff, so I like helping him out. So originally, Savage, the trade plan was bearish bias with a lowercase b, but when you break the value high like that on a lowercase b, your bias flips. So right now you're bullish as long as you stay outside of value. It just depends on how much you're zooming out. Because if you zoom out a little bit further, we're still bearish below 82. So short term, we are breaking the bias. We are bullish. Zoom out a little bit more, you're bearish below 82. Yeah, I know I could get an AI program and do them like really quickly, but that's not a field that I want to get into with AI. I'm sure he uses AI to help him in the editing, but I don't want to just use it on my own. I like giving him some work to do. There was this one program. I need to go back and find it because I was telling him that it would help him a lot that I found. I think it was called like Descript or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it's like an AI program that helps him do all the edits that he typically does on my videos, like subtitles and zooming and all that stuff. No, no rollover top right now. More of a vertical distribution as long as you're holding on to that 24. I'm not using a personality music. I am using a personal chat database. Like I have my Athena database that I've been working on for OpenAI for the custom chat GPT program. So I'm just using that same exact database on Grok, which is not available to you guys right now because unfortunately, the only way to give access to it currently is if I just give you guys my like entire file, which I don't exactly mind doing, but I don't want to do that at this moment. There's not like anything super proprietary in that file. Um, but yeah, I just don't want to give that whole file right now. Keep an eye on that 82 level. That is the value high of Tuesday. If we break above that, we are technically not an inside day anymore. Trend is still very stable. Yeah, Curbs, right now the correlation you're looking at is oil. That's basically you're just an oil trader. It doesn't matter what you're trading right now, you're just trading oil basically. The correlation is very strong with oil and with the dollar currently. What's the difference between rollover top and distribution? They're just completely different patterns. Like as you're putting in higher highs and higher lows, kind of respecting the 24 EMA, just slowly trending higher in a diagonal fashion, that's not a rollover, right? A rollover is a very specific, like ABC pattern, where you have that high, you sweep the high, and then you put in a lower high after the sweep. They push this at a perfect time because they're not going to have single prints for a long time now. They push that after the 30-minute close. So now they'll have single prints going down to 77, but they have 26 minutes to repair it. So like I said earlier, we started out as a lowercase b. You hit that value low, and then you popped up into the value high, which looked like it was still going to be bearish eventually, right? You thought it was going to sell and come back down. But there was no sell pressure here. So now we push into that upper tail, turning into a overnight fade. So now the upper tail is being pushed. We are above that value high, so now we are bullish. We are above the 82 level, which is the value high of Tuesday, the day that we were inside of. So now if you stay above 82, there's a little bit of a value gap here. There's no value here. But then if you stay above 603, you are retracing Wednesday. So a little bit of a value gap, which is probably why we blew through that level so fast. Then keep an eye on 603, staying above that. We go back into a retrace. And this is a correlated move, so you can trust this move because oil is nuking now. Well, short-term nuking. Here is the key level on oil. Oil has to stay below 108. That is the VWAP starting from the Trump speech. This is from Trump posting on Truth. Let me see what he's saying. We will soon sign an order to pay all the incredible employees at the Department of Homeland Security. So weirdly enough, this is not tied to Iran, but it's having a massive effect here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's the Iran headline. Iran is drafting protocol with Oman for the Hormuz Strait traffic. So it looks like they're signing some type of agreement to allow traffic through the strait. Sorry, it came out at the exact same time as the Trump post, so I thought it was the Trump post. But it's actually the Iran-Oman headline. Okay, now you will almost certainly have single prints going back down to 77. We will see. I can put my news feed on the screen, but there's really nowhere for me to put my news feed, unfortunately. Let me do this. I can bring this down. Yeah, it doesn't really work. Maybe up there? Is that too distracting where that is, or does that help? Well, I can't stretch it because I am literally I am pulling it directly from my monitor. I'm doing like a streaming trick to pull it from my monitor. Like here, this is my cursor. You can see my cursor. It's not actually on my screen. I'm pulling it from my monitor. So that's the size that it's got to be. You're only going to be able to see like one post at a time. Siri, stop listening to me. Good morning, Bella. Okay, here's that 108 level we talked about. This is that support from the speech from last night. And you're getting this level if you pull an anchored VWAP from that speech. That's an anchored VWAP on oil. You can do the same thing on equities if you want. It's not going to be as clean, though. So where was the speech? Let's see. Should be this candle here. Yeah, you can see it's not as clean. Yeah, Ray, it's very, very common for stuff like that to happen in these markets. Headlines are moving the market. You can't predict the headlines. Building a very strong node here at 615. So far, just rotating it. What do the bots do? I would check out my videos or my write-ups on them. I've got videos that cover how to use them. Essentially, one of them is a trend bot, one of them is a range bot. So one of them tries to find signals when it's trending very aggressively in one direction, obviously. And then one of them tries to keep the market within a certain range. Like when it's in balance, basically. They're basically designed for if you're in a very balance heavy market, you watch the range bot. If you're in a very trend heavy market, you watch the trend bot. So like right now we are in a very trend heavy move, at least in the short term. So you can see the bots are trending very aggressively. But like while we are in a vertical distribution, you can see it's trying to put the clouds in. because it's very rangy. When you're very aggressive in one direction, one of the clouds will turn off. Or sometimes both the clouds will turn off. The bot's basically telling you that there's basically no chance price is going to get down to where that cloud would be. You'd have to have something crazy happen, right? During that trend. Okay, this is what we call a pivot to pivot move, where we had a very old pivot being drawn out here, and then we had a new pivot push you back into that old one. Here is a pinch as well. Unfortunately, no pivot on NASDAQ. Maybe on the 15? Yeah, 15 had it, no 30. Okay, so I actually have to extend our targets here because that finished our trade plan into that value retrace. Extended levels are 59 and 92. Same thing on NASDAQ. I have to extend these. Extended levels are 348 and 464. Is it cutting these off, or can you see them? I think you can see them. Yeah, looks good. Well, you just do it step by step, Luis. So it started out bearish. Then we went for the value retrace. Or sorry, the rotation. So this move here, all it should have been was a rotation. It should have just rotated to 50 and then came right back down. But right here, it did not do that. You blew through VWAP and you blew through that value high without any sell pressure whatsoever. So when that happened, you have to flip your bias to being bullish. So from that point on, we've been bullish the entire time. The other point that you could have had sell pressure was at 82, which you did not see because of the headline. So your two key points to be a seller today was 50, the value high of today and VWAP, did not work. And then 82 did not work. So buyers are doing very good. Well, this is pretty much what Trump was saying in his speech yesterday if you watched it. He was talking about these countries need to come together and figure out this straight on their own and stop relying on the US to do everything. You're going to have much more of a push to get this straight open in the next few weeks, because look at how the countries on the eastern hemisphere are doing, right? The Philippines, South Korea, Australia, Japan, they've all put out headlines basically talking about how they're having to put quotas, or not quotas, what's the word I'm thinking of? Restraints, basically. Savage, most people just screenshot them and like create images and just put them all into one email. But if it says like the images are too large and you have to send a couple of emails, it's not a big deal. I just need to be able to see the account size, the invoice number, and when you purchased it. As long as I can see the account size, I can give you your tickets. Obviously for that month of like if you purchase it in March, say. Yeah, don't forward them. That just spams the email. Um, if you can put them all into one email or two emails, that's better. It's just better for you because if you forward them, the likelihood of me missing one of them is higher. Like I try my best not to miss any of them, but if there's 20 something emails and I miss one of them, you're going to miss those tickets, right? But yeah, it's not the end of the world if one person does it. If everybody does it, it's a problem. That 108 level is coming in handy here for oil. They are buying it up. That is that anchored VWAP level from that speech. Here in the Philippines and fuels through the roof. Yeah. Yeah, Philippines, basically any of those countries over there. South Korea, Japan, Indonesia, Australia. They're all putting a lot of pressure on the strait to be opened. Pretty much all the oil that flows through Iran is going east, right? It's not coming west. So this push up is a bit of an overreaction because the actual headline is about post-war consultations. Which you guys can probably see. Yeah, you can't see it when I click on the actual link, but right here is the actual headline. Post-war consultations. So a bit of an overreaction here. We have about 4 minutes left, and you will have single prints going all the way down to 77. '24 EMA still being protected. Buyer delta is still very weak. Still just rotating this node. It is damn near the POC. Turning into a capital B day. Very common when you have a lowercase b failing. Same thing with a capital P failing. You push into that lower tail, or upper tail in this case, and it creates that secondary node. There's that POC shift. Okay, there's that close. So now you have single prints going down to 77, pretty much the entire news candle. Keep an eye on oil here. If it keeps bouncing off this 108, the sell pressure is going to start ramping up back into the single prints, possibly back down to that 82 level. Pretty much textbook capital B pattern. You have a large lower node and a large upper node, and then you have single prints in between. So as long as they protect the single prints, as long as they protect the upper node, they are bullish. So even on a pullback here, if it bounces off that single print fill in halfway or finish filling them, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's still bullish. So keep an eye on that. Yeah, have a good day, Spence. Couple of bullish block trades coming in there, but they're not being protected. Getting that micro pullback candle for now. Very common after an impulse like that. Just kind of cooling off. There's a lot of bullish blocks coming in here, but they're not really going anywhere just yet. Just kind of building that node up. Yeah, the Discord live starts right after the I close the stream on YouTube. Come on, Nitro. Maybe a headline coming? No, I think we're just relaxing after that last one. Very common to see micro pullbacks after a massive impulse like that. The impulse is looking for value, it finds it, and you kind of sit there for a little bit. Oil sitting right on that 108 level. Just keep an eye on this candle. It's basically developing the node. That's what a micro pullback typically does. You are developing this node, just building it up. We need to hold above like 30 or below, I'd say like 600. Hey, Ordinary, have a good day if you're still in here. Oh, yeah, Karina, let me take a look. What did you say? You said at 11:09. 11:09. Oh, like down here? Yep, so the line is the trend. So it's like very slow to react. So it's reacting very slowly to the most recent impulse, basically. But then the histogram is extremely short term. It only looks at a few candles. So the histogram is going to react to what is happening in that very moment. So that's just kind of a late reaction that you're seeing to the massive impulse that we had. It's basically trying to pick a trend direction where it can't really. There is no trend here. So it's quickly going from one extreme to the other. Okay, micro pullback is finally over. So now we have to see if we're going to hold above that candle high or below that low, essentially trading the node. Basically, are you going to trade above the node or below the node? Hey, Ryder, have a good one, man. But all right, guys, we are heading into the close here for the morning stream. I will do a quick giveaway here. Let me take a look at our likes. We're at 80 likes. If you guys get that above 100, I will do a quick giveaway here for an Apex account. Reminder, guys, tomorrow is a market holiday, so I will not be streaming. I will not be trading. I will not be in Discord, etc., etc. So enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your long weekend. I will be back to normal on Monday. I'm debating on putting out a recap video either today or possibly waiting until Sunday for my oil recap, talking about what's going on in the macro markets. We'll see how today closes. If I feel like there's enough information to go over today, we might do it today, but maybe on Sunday. Yeah, there is some data coming out tomorrow, and the markets are technically open for a little bit. The futures markets are, but it is a market holiday, so whatever is open is going to be pretty low volume. But all right, guys, we'll do a quick giveaway here, and then we'll go shift over to the Discord stream. Okay, same as always, pick a number between 1 and 50. Just pick one number. Make sure to press that live button so you do not have a large delay on the stream. So you will know if I pulled your number. Be sure to have your email ready. I will need your email to send you the code. Just pick one number. Don't worry about ties. We will do a tiebreaker. If you guys are new here, this is for an Apex account. I'm going to give you a promo code. You can go sign up for an Apex prop firm account. Any size you want. Either end of day drawdown, intraday drawdown, doesn't matter. Put the promo code in. It gives the account for free for 30 days. If you guys enjoy the stream, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. If you guys are brand new here, be sure to check out my Becoming an Apex Trader series. It goes over pretty much everything that I've taught over the last 10 years or so. All the main details, all the main things you need to keep an eye on, you need to understand to watch these live streams and really follow along. So be sure to check that playlist out. And then obviously once you're done with that, I've got plenty of other videos. You can check out my order flow playlist, my volume profile playlist. We've got dozens of shorts going over different setups, different trades, etc. Be sure to check all that stuff out. All right, guys, we'll give you another 20 seconds or so. Make sure to press that live button so you do not have a delay. I'm not going to sit here waiting for you all day. All right, good luck, guys. The last number that I see is trades. Actually, here's a few more coming in. Last number I see is TL. It is 20. Let me know if you got 20. I will double check. I see you, Leo. Are you the only 20? Let me see. I think it's just you, Leo. I don't think we have a tie today. Last chance, let me know if you have 20. I do see you already, Leo. Is there anybody besides Leo? If you guys are heading out, I appreciate you watching. I will not be streaming tomorrow. Like I said, it is a holiday. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your time off. Enjoy your long weekend. I will be back on Monday. But all right, Leo, I think you are the winner. Here is my email. Go ahead and send me an email. Just let me know what your YouTube name is, and I'm going to send you a random number to type in chat. You sent it. Awesome. Let me take a look. Today is the absolute last day, by the way, guys, to send me any receipts you guys had for the raffle. If you guys use code BREW anytime in March, gather up those receipts and send them my way. The email's right here, admin@oasistrading.io. I will be pulling that either later today or tomorrow, so be sure to have them sent by today. Only in March, don't send April. If you're using the 90% off right now in April, just hold on to those until the end of the month. Leo, I sent you a random number. Just type that in chat. I see you, Leo. So next thing you'll see, Leo, is the promo code. So you can go sign up for an Apex account. If you don't have the link, it's down below, of course. And just put that promo code in, and you're good to go. But all right, guys, enjoy your long weekend. Enjoy your holiday. I'll be in Discord for the rest of today, and then I'll see you guys back on Monday. Peace, everybody.